We'll wait for a few more minutes. Um, we're having people join us now. Welcome, everybody, for joining. Thank you. Uh, we will uh, we will start very shortly, and we're just waiting on one of our guests to join us, and we'll get started in a few minutes. Uh, be patient with us, and we'll it won't take that long. We'll get started.
Thank you, T. Yes, so it looks like everybody's very excited and they want to hear about the special program we're having today. There's over 100 and almost 148 people that I see who have tuned in already. I don't know if you can see that on the other end, but
Over 200. So
okay.
yeah. Um, I mean, it's a timely program, especially as an advocacy group, bringing people whose voices has been stifled is going to be is a very timely issue. So that could be the reason why.
You know, T,
Yeah.
while okay, while we really talk about the special program on Kemant people, which what this is today's program is all about. But I also want eventually I would like for us to cover what Special Envoy Mr. Feltman Q&A with the media yesterday. It's kind of mind-boggling, if you may say. And yes, there is no solution to Ethiopian problem. Dialogue of it's long gone. But then how the US is, as much as I love the US, is marginalizing not just the majority, minorities such as Gamans who have been publicly executed according to Amnesty International report we'll talk about in detail. But it's an amazing, and then also obviously the other things that is hot on the plate is about the political prisoners and what the community, what the people, what the Ethiopian people should do, what the Oromo people should do, what the international community who don't have ultra motive that are not saying publicly at least is should do things. I feel like is a rightfully thing to discuss, and I'm hopeful next week this time when our next conversation have we'll be looking at a different scenario.
Perfect. Good morning, everybody. I know you guys are waiting on us. Today is November 24th or 23rd. I think it's November 23rd, 4th, 24th. Yep, tomorrow Thanksgiving. November 24th. Thanks for joining us. I'm here with our wonderful executive director for Ollaa, Senat Njimo, and we have a couple of special guests today, who you will meet very soon. We have one already joined, who's already joined this conversation, and we're waiting on one more. As soon as our other guest joins, we will get started. Stay patient, and there's going to be a program that you don't want to miss. So please make sure you share this with your friends, share with your circle. This is a voice that needs to be heard. Those are voices that need to be heard. And please also engage with us through comments. We will look through your comments, and if you have questions, we will take some of those questions. We can't promise we're going to take all of the questions, but we'll take some of the questions. Um, Engage with us, and we will get started in about 2 minutes, tops.
Based on the audience who have tuned in, it says so much how much people are very cautious situation about the situation, and particularly the minority group, the so-called the international community or the West talks for so long about because I remember being in a meeting with the European Parliament. One of the member of parliament, what they asked me is like, how do Oromos treat the minority? How are you planning to protect the minority within Oromia? Like, the majority silence, the oppression of the majority. it does not seem to be that much of a didn't concern, but it was the minority, which is really truly they do get prosecuted without doubt. And I mean, I think we're having she's having a technical problem with the community from Kemant, which we have today's discussion will be dedicated towards. And I think, okay, here you are, you're back. Okay, so I think it is so important that the international community really do understand how the Amhara regional government not only terrorizing the neighboring region in Benishangul Gumuz as well as Oromia, and have waged genocide war in Tigray, but also within its territory. And the U.S. have not really reached out to such a community. But I think we can begin. And unfortunately, I think we have one guest who's a little bit running behind. So I think we should begin since we're already a few minutes into it.
Okay, I would like to briefly introduce our guest. I want her to do the better part of the introduction herself, but Abeba Tafari is here with us. She is Ollaa's counterpart for Kemant. She's also an advocacy group like we are for Oromo people. She's in the advocacy group. She's the president of the advocacy group for Kemant people. Welcome, Abeba. We're glad to have you here today, and even though circumstances are not the way we want it to be, but nevertheless, we're glad to have you here with us and tell us the story tell the Oromo people the story that they probably wouldn't hear other places, or some of the voices that has been kept under wraps. Thank you for joining us, and please introduce yourself a little in depth, and we'll get started.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ollaa, Sena, who have been really working with us, supporting us, and being our voice. We don't need, as you know, we don't have really a voice. It's stopped by Amhara government, and now with the federal government support. Our voice would never heard, but now recently it's coming. No complaint there, even though it's not enough, but our voice is being heard, and part of it is your efforts. And I really, really appreciate Ollaa for your support. So right now, my name is, like you said, Abeba Tafari, and I'm a Kemant Advocacy Group president. And the Kemant Advocacy Group is, I'm sorry, the guest is here, so I'm going to let her in. I'm so sorry.
No, thank you. No, that's perfect.
Thank you.
I think that's a great introduction.
Let me mute them. I apologize. Thank you.
No, that's perfect. Sena, you're on mute. I know you're trying to say something.
Thank you, T. Often I remember, but I think we would love to have both of them. That I thought we were gonna have both, but in that case, I think we can even have our guy join us. Okay, but let's see. Let us join. Let us while she joins us. T. I'm so curious. I mean, we obviously know we've been working with them for a long time, but a lot of people do not know who Kemant are, you know what I'm saying, where they are located and what they're facing. Because I remember reading the Amnesty International reports from 2020. It specifically talks about, okay, here it is.
Good morning.
Here you are. Hi, good morning, Negesu.
Good morning. I'm sorry. I was running a little late, dropping off my kid at the daycare. I'm so sorry.
No, it's perfect. Thank you for joining. We're just doing introductions, and if you don't mind, you can, right after Abeba is done telling us the mission of the advocacy group, I will let you introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, again, I'm sorry, but she's here. So the Kemant Advocacy Group was necessary to start because the Kemant people don't have any other voice. And we could not do with individual people. We cannot even communicate. They ask us, do you have organization? So a few individuals were, gathering, and we started this group to be not only for Kemant, but for other people who don't have voices. Like Ollaa is our example. We follow you guys. We take your example and your advices. So as you know, the Kemant people, I always say this, it is it's horrific things are happening. Genocide starting from before even the whole Ethiopia going to this chaos. The commands were being genocide by Amhara government, militias, um, uh, and special forces. Now the defense forces and the Eritrean troops, all in it since 2015. The thousands have been killed. So the command advocacy group was necessary to form and be a voice for them, for the command people. And thank you so much.
Thank you. And now I'll let you introduce yourself now, Negesu.
Good morning again. This is Negesu. Thank you for giving me a chance to be here today. And I don't know, sometimes it's hard for me to put up my words together. What a desperating story I have. Unfortunately, I'm gonna talk about it.
Before you get in there, Nugusu, if I might jump in, I'll jump in and talk a little bit. Well, obviously, I've met Nugusu in person, 2020 when I traveled there, as you know, as our audience can see, and I'm hoping there's hundreds of people who have tuned in here. Have they read already the publication? Today's segment is on that publication. We'll talk about the people of Kemant, Abeba will address in terms of who they are, where they're located, and why is the Amhara regional government have been committing extrajudiciary killing even long years before the Tigray war. And why is the international community, particularly the US, who cares about minority group, have remained silent? But I more interested to know, if just you as a person, you look very young because I saw you, and I'm assuming people who are joining in, there are other topics we would like to talk about because Special Envoy just gave a Q&A to media. There is a political prisoners security issues concern. We'll talk about that towards the end. But I think it is important, you as a human being, if you can tell us, you know what I'm saying, you live in Seattle area, you lost everything. And I don't think people understand the magnitude of losing all your loved one at one time. I haven't, as much as I've been in Oromo struggle for all of my life. And I saw how injustice by Naftanyas is done to us. And I've seen how Facebook intentionally silenced us. The word Naftanya, it doesn't imply Amhara. Abiy is Naftanya. Shimalis, the president of Oromia, is Naftanya. But still silence us. There are people who get blocked or they can't share our page or they can't come and view because Facebook is targeting our voices. But your story is different. Your story is, it is so personal and so big, and I just wanted to add in there and feel that's what I was going to add. T, I don't know if I made any sense, but just wanted to add.
No, it makes sense. I really wanted to extend my condolences, and I'm extremely proud of her courage to even be able to tell the story. And reading her story, you know, made me choke up a little bit. This is a hard story to even listen, let alone tell a story firsthand. So I applaud her for being here today to tell us her story. Negesu, I think that's the right way to say the name is Negesu.
Yes.
Okay, Negesu. I guess you want to start with her telling us a story, or should we go from start from for the people who are not familiar with Kemant and what kind of not only genocide but cultural side and the language has been suppressed so that less and less people will talk over time to eventually also get rid of that. I mean, those are the things people might not be familiar with. Maybe start with that, the population, how many people, and those critical things. Abeba will start us with that, and Negesu will kind of tell us the story with Sena interjecting in between what it means and things of that nature.
Okay.
Absolutely. Feel free to, yes, I wanted to take the pressure off from Negesu because she's not a media person. She's not activist. She's not like this, but she is, because when I heard her story in person, I was moved. When I heard the story in what the Amhara regional government, along with the federal government, is doing to Benishangul Gumuz people, I was moved. I was paralyzed to the point I couldn't even say anything. So I think I agree with you, T, that we'll start with the Abeba, if she wanted to add a little bit color into who the Kemant are, and then we can go kind of back and forth and bring in Nugusu, because I'm hoping all of hundreds of people are watching have read the article already, because it is not often you hear or you read the voice of these minorities. The US have not reached out to them. The US talks to the radical Amharas and trying. Jeffrey Peltman yesterday, as if there is some hope for Abiy, they want to sugarcoat it. What about the genocide that's happening to the Kemant and the British Anglo-Gumuz and so many other people? I think I would like to, I agree with you. Maybe we can start with Abeba and give us who the Kemant are, what really happened, and then we can, go back and forth. And I also want to suggest that, Nguso, feel free to jump in. We want to ask more, have a conversation, not like really interview. I want us to have a conversation.
Okay, so you want me to start, right?
Yes, please.
Okay, so the Kemant people live in North Gondar region now, central, they call it now central North Gondar area. And they have lived there, it's as told, they have been living there for last 7,000 years. And they're the one of the indigenous people of Ethiopia. Their numbers are shrinking by the years. So instead of expanding, they're shrinking. 1994, it's not a true census. I don't know who they asked the census. It has they claim it was only 172,000 commands. Even that alone was number 10 from the Ethiopian ethnic, but the number wise, they're like number 10 from 84, 85 ethnic groups. But the true number right now that identify Kemant after all this question self-ruling question came in, it is probably more than 1.5 million Kemants identified as Kemants. Before that, they cannot even now they cannot even their commands because they cannot get jobs. They cannot their farms been forcefully taken. They they were forced to take Orthodox religion. If you speak the Kemantli language, then you cannot even allowed to enter churches until you baptized again. They call it Jeder and in Amharic. I don't know in English, but it's like the second baptized. If you are heard like speaking Kemant, so most people speak Kemant language, in hiding. It's secret. It's like that, but they have their own religion. It's one of the oldest. It's called like this religion. It's called Hegalabona. It came our families, our grandparents say it came from Adam and Eve religion. They meant like the beginning, or one of the oldest religion, and they have their own culture. So most people don't know that the Gondar area, now called the Amhara culture, is all taken from the Kemant culture. People you see the Skusta and everything, they think it's Amhara culture. No, it's Kemant culture. But like any other resources, it's forcefully taken away from the Kemant people. Um, from 2007, the Kemant identity was cancelled. and Kemants were not allowed to call themselves Kemant, and it was said that the Kemants should not call themselves, so they should identify themselves as Amhara or others. That's how they wanted to be. So the Kemant people organized themselves and said, no, this is too much. We're alive, and they start fighting. They elected their community members, and it was legal from the federation. And they fought the Amhara regional government, saying that there is no such a thing as command. So everything was taken away, but they live in the area was 126 kabbales, but the Command people live all over, also spread out all the way, like from Metama to Wagara. So it's one into the other end. So they live in that area. They occupy 126 kabbales, and they were requesting to be self-ruled, and that was denied for so many times by the Amhara regional government. But then the command people, like I said, they fought and went to the federation, and um, so they studied 6 times. The 6 times, from the 6 times, only the one was not studied done by the Amhara regional government. Identified there was no command, but those 5 were, even like I said, in Metamai area. Where you go to the Metamai area, small children cannot even speak another language. Their primary language would be Kemant, which is Kemantinai and Kemant Kwangwa. So, but then the 2007, what started, it went to, so that time the government, Amhara government, and the Kemant representatives were fighting. So they appealed, and at the time the federation they approved and studied, and there is such a thing command. So our question should be answered, and so the Amhara original government saying that, okay, bring back, we will solve this problem. You don't have to get involved. We'll answer their questions. So what they came in June 2015. Um, they said, okay, from 126 kabbales, they are only allowed to have 42 kabbales. And the people say, okay, what about the other commands? What are you going to do? So that started the whole genocide. And the command people said, no, we requested 126 kabbales. There is no 2 commands. There is only 1 command. So you cannot separate us. That started the Amhara regional government forcefully to accept 42 kabbales, and they went and started killing. That's how it started, this genocide. So they went, the militia, there wasn't FANO at the time, but the special forces, the defense force were not directly attacking at the time, but they were watching until the people got, so many people got killed. For example, in Maura, 27 people at the same time, they killed them. They chopped. This is the first time in my history, my life, that I heard that Ethiopians chop and kill people. So what they did was they tore knifed pregnant woman, took out her unborn child, and told her that she would not have any more commands in this world. There is no more commands to be born in the world. And I'm sorry, because that's so emotional, because I saw the picture and the video as the boy, probably he's about 8 years old. When they chopped him, his eyes was still open. And I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
It's okay. Take your time, Baba.
Okay.
So
So,
in other regions, just to add this, in other regions, some of the killings are done by either accusing people of supporting rebel groups or because they are involved in some kind of guerrilla fight. What is the reason? It's just because you're Kamat. There's no. It's not. What's the accusations? What do they use? And I know this is very emotional for both of you. I'm really sorry, but this story has to be told. So, what are they accusing, or they just don't want Kaman to exist?
see, from Agenyo Tashagar, the recent Amhara Regional State president, so many times he repeatedly was saying, I heard saying that I will eliminate commands from the face of the earth under 24 hours. It's on video. He said it on national television. Before that, Asamoah the late Asamoah said that he would chop command's hands. So whoever has the power at the time, their main goal is to eliminate commands from the earth. So
Listen,
that's
we have a living example of that, and I think I want Nagasu to interject here. What do we mean exactly by eliminating Kaman from the earth? Nagasu, I know this is going to be a hard story to tell, but I want you to tell your story. What exactly happened to your family, especially for those who hasn't read this the story, the article we published. Tell us your story in your own words.
Sorry, I could be emotional when I start talking, but I'm sorry. Sorry, give me just a few seconds. I'm sorry.
Take your time. Take your time.
Yeah. I think so. Important. Take your time, please.
So we live in Gondar, which is a small city in Azazo. We grew up with my family together. It was, a loving family, a caring family. I used to have a lot of siblings, which I don't have anymore. September 2019, my family was celebrating Mescal, a special holiday. And then they were having fun. They called me the day before yesterday when they're having Mescal celebration. They say happy Mescal for all of them. And after they celebrate Mescal, a special force come. They call themselves Fano, which they like to kill us as a command. They're working to eliminate command. So my family was there. They come to my family's house and they set a fire while my siblings, my sister, my brothers in the house. And then when my sister, my brother trying to escape from the fire, they shoot all of them. They kill them. And then they burn the house. So all of them die in one day. Sorry. They kill all of them because they're commands. Even my sister, my older brother, my younger brother, they chopped them, they dragged them, they shot them, they even put a fire on them. And then they left them. They left them for 3 days. We grew up there. We don't have a problem with our neighbor. We're just commands. We're just a work hard people. My family, I know my family. They work hard. We don't have a problem with our neighbors, our people we grew up with. But they killed them, and I always see them when they try to escape from the fire. Sometimes I dream them. I see them, I dream them. I don't have a family anymore. What if somebody come told you, "Oh, the family you saw yesterday, they're not here anymore, you know? You don't have a family anymore. You don't have a house anymore. I only have a few pictures." It's just, I want to talk about it. I feel like I like to talk about them. They've been, I don't know. I don't know. It's okay. So my family, who was, and my older brother, he used to own his butcher shopping. Thank you. He worked hard. He graduated from the University of Hawassa, and then he come back to Azuzu to own his shopping. I help him to be a strong man. I remember I sent him money. He always tell me that he wanna be, a good man, works hard to be example of the rest of my younger brothers who he already did. He used to work hard, and I remember when I went back home, we were so happy. I went back home. Sorry, my story sometimes it doesn't make sense. I like to talk about them, and so I went back to see them. I was so happy, and my brothers and sisters was come to airport. They took me home. I was so happy. I have my family already grown up. They're working hard, but now I don't have anything. I don't have any family. I don't have. If I ever think to go back to Ethiopia, I don't have no family. It's gonna come to welcome me anymore. I don't have anywhere to go, and one of my brother who got wounded told me what happened. I still think about how a lot of people come to our house. They were saying, it's that sign of celebration, killing my family. It's just, well, I don't know. I cannot still accept it. And somebody come and told me, you don't have a family anymore. But my brother, I haven't talked to my brother for a while. He got wounded, and they don't let him to leave. I only have one brother left, but I cannot talk to him anymore.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I've heard a lot of horrific stories, never firsthand like this. I'm really proud of you, Negesu, for being brave enough to share your story publicly like this. I cannot imagine the pain that you're going through. As you guys all just heard, her entire family is mercilessly murdered. Um, her brother, only surviving person, is her brother who's wounded, and she can't even communicate with him because he's not allowed. He's, my understanding, he's probably in hiding for the last 2 years. Um, she has a very good, fond memory of her family when she visited. Um, I don't know. You're a very brave young lady. I don't think I'll be able to do what you just did, being able to tell this story. And I know you telling this story for a greater good. Even though every time you tell the story, I know it's going to open like a new wound. And I'm really sorry. Even though it's hard to continue this conversation, I want Sena to come in here. Why is it important to tell this specific not only this specific story, but why is it important to talk about the minority groups, Kemant and other minority groups? Why is it? What's the significance of doing this? What's the significance of bringing their voices to the public? Sena, can you please, and the rest of you can interject on it also. But I want to start with Sena. This is very hard. Negesu, if you can take your time to collect yourself while Sena is talking, and we'll come back to you also.
I honestly, I think that's the most important thing. So I see common people are writing, talking about work, talking about different people. Why is it important to hear about it? But I really don't want to also distract Nugu, so I don't know if she wanted to talk a little bit more. That way she does not forget anything. If not, she could
I want her to give her a break. That's why. Let her take a little breather while you talk, and then we'll
Okay.
get back to her.
Okay. In that case, then I think the most important thing is why is it important to hear minorities like Kemant, who is in Amhara region. We think as a Romo, we have faced the evil kindness of the Amhara regional government, driven by Naftanya government, which is Abiy and Shimelis and all of them from the Oromo side. But it is what does it feel like to be in the midst of the fire? Because the fire that's in the Amhara region, that's right now burning the Benishangul Gumuz, the Tigray, and the Oromo and other people, is an outside. But it's what I can only imagine. I can only imagine what it meant for people like Command, who is their government supposed to be in their region doing this. So it's important to talk about this from many angles. And one, today I see some of the common people going like about Jawar, we want to know about the progress and things like yes, but we have to know the pain that we're feeling is not exclusive to us. There are people who have it worse than us. At least as a Romo, we have a region, and even though the government is maybe it's an Afghanian government's puppet government, that's supposed to protect us. But what about Kemant? When the international community have said to them, even the Ethiopians, other ethnic group have said to them, this is the issue. You know what I'm saying? This is the issue. This is the Amhara issue, and nobody's even talking about how severe the issue is happening within Amhara region. How minorities are treated by when Amhara president. I did not hear Shimalas come out say that give me 24 hours and I'll wipe out the Walaga Oromos or the RC Oromos. He did not say that. Even though some of his intention is clearly is people who they label as shani is they're gonna it's like drying you can't kill all the fish, so you have to dry the ocean. But they have not said that. But you have a government, and yet you have the U.S. government talking to this prime minister as if he had somehow even legitimate election, that he have the voice of, and then you have thousands of people who just came 2 days ago to protest and to continue the elimination of people like Kemant. And I honestly, why it is important to us is because one is reflected on us in our conscience. If we do not speak for people like Kemant, if we do not speak for people like in Benishangul Gumuz, if we don't speak about the atrocity that's happening far outside of the site, out of sight, out of mind, then we are equally as bad as the current regime. That no matter how hard the international community might want to pretend this issue can be saved, Ethiopia can no longer be the same, because voices like Ollaa will not allow that. We will bring on, for as long as people cry in the far corners, in invisible area, there is not going to be justice or peace in anywhere in Ethiopia. There's got to be justice and peace for every Ethiopian, not for the Oromos, and then you continue to have Benishangul because they're small, or Kemant because so small in the Amhara region. Amhara regional government, they need to be held accountable, not only for what the U.S. or international community is talking about, what they commit in Tigray, but what about Kemant? What do you have when Amhara regional government, when Amhara regional president says that give me 24 hours and I'll wipe out the people of Kemant? So for me, as an organization team, we felt like it is absolutely important that we use the platform we have, because I remember some years ago, I was trying to speak for Oromo personally in the personal side. There was nobody want to hear us. They didn't even want to acknowledge the Oromo exists, even though Oromo makes over 60% of the population. Deputy Special Envoy, patency Oromo makes up 60% of the population. That is at minimum. And they did not want to recognize. We as Ollaa know how not having a voice, not having a platform to even share. Because, like you say, when it comes to Negus, is that it's so painful to she relives every moment that her family is wiped out. She can go back to Ethiopia today. There's nobody to welcome her. She have nothing. It's important that for Oromos to hear these voices, to speak for these voices, protest for these voices, for international community, because we have, there's hundreds of people watching this, thousands of people watch this show once a week. We have thousands of people on our subscriber. There are over 50,000 people or followers on Facebook. So we want people to see the atrocity that Amhara regional government has committed and is committing, and the U.S. failed to live into moral standard by continuing to take or talk about as if the Abiy regime is anything less than a genocidal regime, including the Amhara regional government, that should be taken into ICC rather than being. So that is why we feel like it is very, very important to hear such a voices.
Thank you, Sena. And Abeba, I'll come to you. You were talking about they were doing research to determine if Kemant exists or not. Why is research needed? One, that you guys are saying we're here, we're Kemant, we're living. There's a proof, an example that are a living, breathing example of a multitude of people saying we're Kemant. That's one. And the second is they are identifying people on their identity, on them being Kemant, and eliminating them, like families of Negesu. They also know Kemant exists. Why is research needed? One. And two, what is the Kemant community doing to preserve your culture, to preserve your language, to preserve your identity? And what are, besides the killings and besides the systematic marginalization, what are your other challenges in achieving those objectives?
Yeah, right now, the Kemant people, they're not living in peace. They're not. Everywhere you go, thousands have getting killed, stripped their humanity, and have no access to resources at all, no political, um, anything. The Kemant. So they can. They don't need any reason to eliminate Kemant. They can call themselves junta right now. The new trend is junta, or in order to kill the Kemant and to put them, to detain them, and to really eliminate them, they will give whatever at the time of their stand. If they stand the time, when they said Gunwat Sabat was their enemy, they called Gunwat Sabat and arrested thousands of Kemant. We've been called Oneg supporters. There is no connection between Oromo and Oromia and Kemant, but they still called. So they just create a reason, like they're creating right now, to kill and eliminate people. The main reason is the land. Gondar, because 200 years before that, the land is Kemant's land. So they're taking over, like they do everywhere. So what they have to do is, there is no such a thing. We heard the largest people in Wulaga, that Dawit, what's his name, said that's Amhara's land, right? Didn't he claim that's Amhara's land? So it's the same thing, the Kemant land, because some of them are very fertile. For example, in Metama, they wanted to take over, and by taking over, you can tell right now. You don't even ask where does the Kemant leaving a stance or where is the mark, the line. All you have to do is go and you'll find it. They burn it, they destroy it, they took everything of the commands there. So this question of identity and self-determination should not be raised any one question, let alone killing thousands and thousands and destroying all the whatever belongs to the command. So they want to destroy. That's the main reason, and they want to take over whatever property, land, and all the things. So right now they don't even have a voice, because if you're a command, you cannot even, if you identify yourself a command, you get you get in prison, you get shot, and you cannot. So right now, the first thing that we wanted to call, the international communities is the command people need to survive, need to live. Otherwise, if it continues like this, in a few years, there is no command. That's, I guess the topic was saying, there is no command, because it's not, they have been doing this by closing internet, social, telephone. There is no power, there is no internet, there is no bank, there is no transportation about most command areas since April 2021. There isn't. Before they used to just turn on and turn off. Right now, no water. So the displaced people are just on the streets and in the bushes. They don't even have shelter, anything, no food. So whatever they're doing, what they're killing by the victims, the survivors. So they're doing starvation like they do Tigrayan people right now. So it's the same thing, and this is really it shows what they're doing. So this is a good example to the international community to really look. Just because we're small and that we don't contribute to the international world, so we can just get killed, eliminated. And now the news is out, but even when I talk a couple of times, Sena, with you, some of the international communities, they're surprised, they're shocked, because they never heard command before. They never heard that command are being the first ones to be killed, and this all genocide committed. One thing I want to say on Negesu is Negesu is here, so at least by the way, they are my cousin's children, so I'm related to them. So, but she's not the only one. We're not the only ones. 7 in one family, 8 in one family, the whole area, the mass graves, the murders, the mutilated. They after the way they do the horrific acts, they don't just kill them and leave them there. They kill them, they chop their body, they leave them on the streets. No, you can, Negasu's brothers and sisters, you cannot even collect the remaining of their bodies until 3 days. They told us no. And then after they killed them, what they did, they went out, spoke on microphone, and what they did. So like you see on video, so when they killed and showed on video, that's what they did. And she's not the only one.
What you're saying is that the case of Negesu's family is not even outliner; it's a common practice.
It is for common people. That's what it is. I just, there was a university teacher that he had 7 of his people, his family came to visit him, including his mother. 7 of them. He didn't even identify himself as command, but they knew he's command. They went, 7 people in one house. They chopped their bodies. The same thing. They chopped their bodies. They burn the house and they let the body rotten there. They didn't even allow. Recently, one of actually last night they were telling me how this guy died because he's. I'm gonna tell you, the command people, most of them they don't steal. They're very hard working people. They believe in working, and that's what they do. So they have wealth when they work, but they have to hide themselves on the cover of Amhara. But it's known who's command and who's not command. So this guy, recently, they took him in. They asked 800,000 birr to release him. They took the money, they abducted him. Then they chopped his body, his head cut, his eyes. They took it out, and they called his wife to come and collect his body. This is a common practice on command people. You just need to be command, and it's not a crime. No one till from 2015 till now, thousands and thousands command got killed. No one, no single person even were put to jail. Even the ones they killed and they captured them by mistake, the government, the Amhara regional government, ordered to release those people.
I want to take it back to Negesu on the same topic you just talked about. For your family's killings, has anybody been captured for the crime? Has anybody offered you condolences? Has anybody said anything, or any communications from the government body, from anybody? Did you have any correspondence? Anybody held accountable for the actions? I mean, can you kind of give us some of those details, please? We're running out of time, but this is a story worth hearing.
Okay. You asked me very interesting question. For your surprise, instead of being accountable or being guilty or sorry for anything, instead they try to attack me. They're telling me that I was telling which not true story. That even here, the people from they call themselves, like I said earlier, Amhara Fano. They keep telling me that that wasn't true, but this is true story.
What's not true? They're saying that your story is not true.
That's what they've been telling me, and they don't want to admit it. But the thing is, I have the picture. The house is burned. I have all document what everybody needs to see, even the journalist or anybody wants to see. I have all the picture, but they don't want to see that. Instead, they try to claim me. I mean, they try to blame me. They're telling me that I'm whatever they call their self, the Fano or anybody who came from Amhara region, or they call themselves Ethiopian. They're telling me I better stop, and it makes it the country worse whenever you talk and make sense of story. That's what they're telling me. And
I just want to make it clear, Negesu. They're saying that your story is not true. You're making it up. And then, even if it's true, if you tell the story, it's going to make the country worse. So don't tell your story.
That's what they've been telling me. They messaging me. They want me to stop talking about my family. This is how they are. This is how they do. If I am Kemant, and even at work, they're telling me that's not true. Don't talk about it. There's, that I don't know how to talk about them. They're very cruel people in the world. I can say I am crying. I am telling the story. I lost my family, but they don't want to. I mean, how do I say this? They don't want to admit it. They did it, and in fact, we know who did this. Some of them, I know them. They're still in Gondar. They're doing the same thing on Kemant. No one is asking me to like no one, how do I say this? I'm sorry. It's okay. Let me start again. So we know the people. They're so Fano. I know some of them, I know them by names. They're still in Gondar doing the same thing. They're killing, they're raping, they're destroying, they're burning the house. They're still doing the same thing. And no one tried to talk to me. If they talk to me, it's the opposite side. They want to stop my voice, which they do in Kemant area. In Kemant area, there is thousands of people like me who lost loved ones, who lost brothers. They cannot talk about it. If they try to talk about it, they will kill them. They will come anytime. They have Ethiopian military. They will help them. Their Fano, Amhara militia. They come and they will kill them. Though they will stop talking about their family. Like me, I'm here. I can talk about my wounded brother, my family I lost. But there's thousands of people. I know the girl. I have the picture. She showed me broken arm, but she cannot talk about it. I can even send you the picture. She could not talk about it. She could not call herself Kemant because they're gonna kill her. So I have the picture. The Fano break her arm. They pull her hair. They scratch her face, but she cannot talk about it. That's how they are. That's how they do. And there is at Kemant when try to defend themselves, the federal Abiy's military come and kill our people, kill Kemant if they try to defend themselves. But if Fano or Amhara militia come burn their house, kill them, stole their property, that's okay for them to do it. But if Kemant try to self-defense, they will help them. This is ongoing genocide. This is not, it getting worse, but this is ongoing by committed Amhara government. It getting worse since Abiy came as a president. I remember one time he talked to on the meeting. Someone brought my family's story. He refused to hear it. So he knows he's been supporting them. He's been supporting Amhara government, eliminate our people, kill our people.
You're talking about the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Abiy Ahmed.
Yes, that's what I'm talking. He helped Amhara government to kill our people, Kemant in Gondar, which Kemant is area all over. So what I would say, I know I love to talk about my family, but it's hard for me to talk about it all the time, but I still have to talk about them. I need justice for my family. I hope I can get justice sooner or later when time comes. I want the killers to be in international court. I want the killers to be brought for international court for genocide. They kill my family. They kill a lot of Kemant. They kill 50 people. Abeba can talk about this if you guys have time. They kill 50 people and they put it in one ground. They've been doing this, but we just don't have a media. We don't have anybody to talk about us. I can talk about it, but it makes me more cry, emotion, but I still have to talk about it because I need justice, because being Kemant is not a crime. We're Kemant. If anybody identify themselves in, like now they call it Amhara region by mistake, but which not shouldn't be. You will killed, you will raped, you will lost, they will rape you, murder you, kill you, do whatever they want to do. I want to just bring up one example if you have time.
Yeah, we'll talk about last example. Yeah, go ahead.
before my family got killed, there even the people helped Fano. You know, the Amhara people, they helped Fano. It's not only Fanos. The people who call themselves Fano come took my brother's stuff, everything. Not even, they don't even left a knife, a spoon, everything, the TV. I'm not worried about the stuff, what they took, but I just want to tell you how they do what they do. So they come and took it. All the people has been helping them instead of trying to stop them. Stop, we know this family, we know these people, they've been growing up with us. Instead of saying that, they will just help them. So they took our stuff before they kill them. They do this if they saw when the family works hard, they will steal their property. They will make them poor. They will take their stuff.
This is really a story worth telling. I really commend you on being so brave and coming and sharing your story with us. And one thing you have to be very sure is we believe your story. We don't think you're lying about your family being murdered, and we believe that your voice should be heard. And we thank you for being brave enough and here coming here with us and sharing. And also, Ababa, I want to thank you for not only coming and being a voice for many voices that have been silenced on the ground, but also for having an advocacy team to advocate for your people. And Sena, I also want to say thank you for bringing this issue as executive director of Ollaa to, publishing that article, and now making it possible for them to tell this story. Maybe we can have another second part of this story, because this is a story that we're telling. We're running out of time, but I'll give you guys one chance, closing statement for all of you guys. But right after that, Sena, I want you to stay. Our guests can leave if they want to after those statements. We still have to talk maybe for 10 minutes about the current prisoner situation. Sena, that's something that our audience want to hear, and I want to hear your take also on that. So I'll give maybe Ababa first, and Negesu last statement also, one or two sentences, and then I'll have Sena one or two sentences on the topic. And our guests, you can stay after that if you want, and also you're excused if you want to leave. And me and Sena will continue with the prisoner situation. And Ababa, I'll start with you. You are on mute. Unmute yourself, please, and then.
I am on mute. You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Again, thank you for Ollaa for always organizing and being a voice, not only to the Kemants. I see your programs that you're trying to be voice for everyone, and I appreciate you. The Kemant issue is not the only issue. I know that in Ethiopia, but the Kemant issue, what makes it different is there is no voice. Even the people who are here, who are Kemants, are scared if they say something that they will finish. It's not gonna stop, but they're scared because that's how we were raised, to be scared of them, to not say anything that to jeopardize. But it has to be told. We have to say, with the international community needs to hear our voices. We're trying to be voices, but you guys are helping us also to be voices. And I really, really appreciate for people who come here today to listen to our story. You can contact us at the Kemant Advocacy Group for any further question, or I'll give your phone number and my contact information to you. So this is we need more voices. We need help. We need support from you guys as we support you and the Oromo and the Benshangul, the Tigrayans people. We need to be together. We need to be a voice. This what happens to Kemant people, it's not gonna cover by an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. It took years to eliminate Kemants, and it's gonna take many years to reverse it. And it needs a lot of people support. So we need to be together. And I know we have a short time, so I don't want to take your time. Thank you so very much, and I will stay and listen to the rest of your program. Thank you.
Negesu, it's your turn.
Okay, thank you so much, Ola. Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me a chance to talk about, and thank you for listening me. I remember I saw you saying at one time, I cry on you. You keep your promise. Thank you so much. I just want to say, people in Ethiopia now, in Benshangul, Oromia, Tigray, and Kemant, who lost loved ones like me, be strong. One day, justice will be prevail. We will get justice. Be strong. And I want, someone needs to be my voice. I want, anyone can talk to me by, they can get a hold of me by Abeba. I need my voice to be heard. I want somebody to be my voice. I want somebody to be voice of innocent commands. I want, we want voice. And thank you so much again.
No problem. MLK said injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So if we don't become a voice when we see injustice in one spot, then that's a threat to justice anywhere else, and it's going to be hard to talk about other places. We have to cover all places that are injustice are happening. Sena, closing the statement on this topic, and then we'll go to the next one.
Thank you, T, for the opportunity to say a few things about closing. And I also do appreciate that the fact that you say maybe we can have a follow-up discussion on it. What I want to say, Nugusu, is that the storytelling is very painful because each time you cry, you relive it. For some people, might seem like it's a joke, but I know it's not. And the same thing for Ababa. The struggle we struggle as a woman is double the trouble. It's much harder in the community such as Ethiopia, where people don't trust each other, and especially as a woman. Personally, because I happen to be a woman, I hear you. But if you have not shared your story, I could never have relayed. If you have not said anything, nobody could have known what the Kemant people are going through. So you have to understand the power, the impact that you having on me, on hundreds of thousands of people that you are touching. There's this quote I'll remind you. I think it was a friend of mine when I was in college. She said that when you shine, it gives the permissions for others to also shine. Your light, your story, it enlightens those of us who may have never have heard about this. And those victims, there's somebody out there talking about something similar to them. So that is the most powerful. Your story is your most powerful weapon you have. Never lose. And I know it's not easy. And as a woman, as small as Kemant is, it is to be in this platform, to be heard by hundreds, if not thousands of people. That by itself is accomplishment, Negesu and Abeba, that I want you guys to keep in mind. That by itself, for you to be, there's 80 plus ethnic group in Ethiopia. You do not hear all about 80 plus. You hear 5, 6, 7, maximum 10. So you are among the 10 of those 80 ethnic group that's in Ethiopia. Your stories is moving, and I hope you guys will go over to Kemant. I think it's called, is it KemantGroup.org, Ababa? Because
Kemant Advocacy Group organization, yeah.
Organization. So I hope you can Google and see Kemant Advocacy Group organization. See what talent you have, what energy you have to be voice for these people. And then there are so many Kemant out there who is still uncovered in the Amhara flag and imperialism. It's not easy, and I know, because I remember when I was growing up, my own family, they didn't want to be Oromo. It was not cool to be Oromo. It's like, it's too much headache. But I hope you lift up the shadow, behind the shadow of that oppression, and be proud of who you are. And I feel like we are embarking in a new journey in Ethiopia, whether we remain as a country or not, it's been secondary. The time has come for the world to hear you, not because they want to hear you, because you have demanded so. So I urge you guys to do that. I mean, also I wanted to say, for the bunch of commentators that say, like, why don't you guys bring this story to white people particularly? This is exactly what we're doing. That's why we wrote about their story. There's so many moving story that we as Oromos don't even know. We are definitely sharing it to Oromos, obviously as much as to American government, about the plight of the Kemant people. Soon, we're talking about less than 1 million people in the country of 120 million, in a government that have decided to commit genocide, even against Tigray. The reason why I say even against Tigray, because Tigray, at least TPLF, used to be in power for 27 years. The most powerful ethnic group in the country is the Tigray. So if they are dare to commit such a crime against Tigray, so one can only imagine what they're doing to Kemant. So we ask and urge everybody to talk about them. And then again, and then you don't have to be Kemant to support Kemant. Injustice to anywhere is a threat to everywhere. So from that mindset, I'll urge you guys to do. And then also I'll say that, if there is a platform that, we want to invite these ladies, because this is a moving story. We'd like to hear from Benishangul Gumuz. We'd like to hear from different people, because I've heard in my heart moved personally that I've decided that there can never be peace and stability in Ethiopia for as long as the West or international community have picked a side. It will be much difficult, but this is the moment. We are embarking in historic moment. So I would definitely say that, come back, keep in mind that what you're doing, you're touching the lives of many, many people. This show, I do know it gets watched by staffers from the US Congress. We talked about it. So there are hundreds of people in Oromos who watch, and that's why the program is in English. What we want to do is we want to be out there vocal, because inside we work with them. We write letter to them every single day, to Special Envoy Office, to State Department Bureau of Africa, to Special Ethiopia Desk Office, to White House, to everywhere we write to them. But sometimes they like from outside, because they think like, okay, you don't get a credit. At the end of the day, these are politicians. They want to score a vote. They want to get a vote. So your story should matter. I urge you guys to talk to your representative. And I think I would like to end with this one, and they can stay in Negesu. And I think we're gonna have one more of our colleague who can join us and talk about, about the political prisoner, the situation. And that's for me. Thank you, T.
Yeah, your identity, who you are, you didn't choose. So it's not a crime of being who you are. And I hope, Sena, how can somebody who wants to put Negesu and Abeba on their platform, how can they contact Ollaa, or they contact you? I'm sure there is some other media right now watching this, wanted to bring these young ladies on their platform. If they do, I think they should go to email info@ollaa.org and request their information. Sena, is that okay? info@ollaa.org, or
I think Abeba they can do that. We'll be more than happy to pass it along. And they do also have an email address. So maybe Abeba can type it in here, as well as also type it on this one, as well as make sure that you let us know what can people email you, what can they reach you. You know what I'm saying? It's important that this is the people, thousands of people listen to this show once a week. And we want to be able to facilitate in any way somebody who want to make a difference, who want to donate, who want to volunteer, they can get hold of you guys. I think that's important, T.
Yes, and Brother Kenna has joined. Thank you, Kenna, for joining us. I hope you are listening to this. If you haven't, hopefully you'll go back and listen to this recorded. It's on Facebook. You guys can catch this program if you missed it. This is a very great program that we just completed. But now we're going to go to the next program, which is, as you know, the political prisoners in Ethiopia. There's right now a dire situation. This is actually for Negesu and Abeba also. This is some of the things you can take note on what should the people do to bring this thing to the forefront. What should people do to bring light onto the problem that we got your number, Abeba. Thank you. Sena and Kanna, can you please talk about a little bit of what the situation is first? Explain to people what's happening and what's the threat to the prisoners currently. And then also, what can people do, not just Oromos, but anybody that's watching this program can do to be not only a voice but to have direct impact on ensuring the safety of these prisoners. I'll start from Kana and then I'll go to Sena.
Thank you for having me. My name is Kana Golicha. First, I want to say hello to our audience and also our Abeba and Nege. The voice of the Kemant has been strong and your story has been going, and we are glad to be hearing your story. I just want, first of all, to condemn this act of, the act of, trying to gain access to political prisoners, and the political prisoners have rights. They have human dignity, and the act of doing that, as it shows us currently the government, the rule of law is nowhere to be seen in Ethiopia currently. How such act can happen. And you see, once you are a political prisoner, there is what is called Mandela standard of how to treat political prisoners. And I keep hearing background noise. I don't know who is unmute.
There's no background. I think you're good. I'll mute everybody.
Thank you. What I'm saying is there's what is called Mandela standard, which is a standard of treatment to political prisoners, where political prisoners should be treated according to their human dignity. They should be respected, and due to their mental, physical well-being, and even their rights should be respected. One of the basic rights of political prisoners are the right to be safe in a sound and clean environment. That involves the mental well-being. And you show this from the family of the political prisoners. There were these criminals in the name of Ethiopian national security who tried to access where the senior Oromo political prisoners were detained. It's a warring trend, and we condemn that act with the strongest term possible. I cannot say the government of the day will able to grant them security, because it seems there is no government. So currently, what the activists and even the Oromo should do is, as much as possible, they should, fight for, be voice for these political prisoners who cannot able to voice their grievance. I can't tell people to go and, by force to, break into the Kaliti prison and get political prisoners out, because that itself, again, the criminals might take advantage of that. But in this situation, I think all the human rights bodies in the region and worldwide, and the government of the world, and all the government, the friends of Oromo should hear that it's an emergency. It's a very, this situation is getting out of hand. We don't know what will happen. If in the past, senior political prisoners have died in prison under unclear circumstances, we don't want such situation to repeat itself in this country. And I think this government, there's no government. I don't know how to say this government, because the prime minister itself have decided to leave the power. And he said that he was elected by people, and now he's in the battlefield, and someone has overtaken the country leading. I don't know whether there was another election or how he passed that power. I know the representative, whether the parliament voted to give, the deputy prime minister such power. But I don't know. The country is operating in a state of anarchy, and whenever the state of anarchy is going on, anything can happen. And this situation, I think, every individual, the friend of Oromos, others who are in prison, should, keep writing letters to other human rights, keep doing whatever possible so that these political prisoners can, the government of the days or even the criminals can adhere to the Mandela standard and other international human rights standard. Yeah, thank you.
Sena, I want you to also include the reports coming out from especially the capital, that lawlessness is rampant right now, because everybody's allowed to kind of form a group and call themselves policing their neighborhoods. So there are a lot of criminal entities within that structure where they're taking advantage of every possible opportunity they can get to loot, to harass, to do whatever crime they wish, because it's under the blanket of state of emergency. It's almost allowed. If you have a gun and you're pro-government, you're allowed to just roam the streets. Can you also include that with the response to see what kind of threat that is posed to not only the prisoners but also the residents of the capital?
Thank you so much, Steve. Thank you again, Negesu and Abeba, and I'm glad you guys are staying behind. So you can also would love to hear what you guys think is going on. What are you guys hearing? But I want to start off from what Kana say. I mean, honestly, I mean, look at it. I mean, what kind of system is the international community is operating with? The journalist, one of the reporters asked the special envoy, the prime minister have just announced that he is going to the battleground to fight. But according to the constitution, he is the chief. He is the prime minister, the chief of the military. So he literally gave that power to the Nemeka, who is not elected by the people. It's illegal. And as you mentioned that, the anarchy is rampant, has been rampant, and they have been arming their people. And we have to, I think there's so much to be said about this, too, because if you remember, there was a murder of Hachalu nearly 2 years ago, a year and a half at minimum, June of last year. Right after that, the whole country went into anarchy. So the moment, there is a whisper, I think our people back home are ready. From what I'm hearing, it's from corner to corner, especially in Oromia. They are ready. If this government, we know, according to the information we got on Thursday of last week at 8:40 p.m., and identified people who work for intelligence. They are identified. We know who they are, but we say it's an identified because they don't have a legal right to enter the prison camp. And I'm taking you there, and then I'll bring you back to here. They enter a prison camp in a dozen, and they were trying to get access to the political prisoners. And I think we want the international community to know that if a single thing is done, or these people are armed, that would be the end of Ethiopia. It will be a war that, the people who are trying to harm political prisoners have been killing the Kemant, have been, calling for genocide against Tigray for the last 1 year at minimum, are completely asking for Tigray to be wiped out of the earth. Are the Amhara elites, the Amhara Fanos, the Amhara militias, the Amhara regional government. So any Amhara that is in the Oromia area, in another part of the country, they will be in a very, very precarious situation, because if there is any rumor, anything that's going on, from what we're hearing right now, is people are very intense. The prisoner area is extremely intense. There are a talk that because government will shut down the internet, if in the event the government does shut down the internet, the phone line, that means, the hell have broke out. So there might be violence in all throughout Oromia. There are at least 70% of the population reside in Oromia. That is, you have to think about, that's about 80 million people. 70% of the population, 60% are just Oromos. The rest are majority of them are, Amharas who have not great relationship with the community. So I'm very concerned, and I'm very worried about what's going to happen to them. Obviously, and we are very, very concerned. Yesterday we put out a calling template. I think it's very important, and this is a message also for the command, for people who do advocacy. You want to use the template, like, okay, you know what? Call your Congress, call your senator, call your governor, call whatever you parliament. Let them know about your concern, because we do know that we've talked to U.S. government Senate side. They have made requests to visit the political prisoner, and they were never granted. The ambassador, they have been requested multiple times to get access to political prisoner. They didn't, but right now, it almost looked like they're getting ready, trying to do, we don't know, God knows what they're going to do to these political prisoners. But in the event that we do, we are on our toes. We are ready for the press statement. We are ready. We have already notified Congress. We have already called a meeting with some offices. But obviously, based on a special envoy, we've been writing to special envoy from the moment that he was appointed, Ollaa. We had a communication. We have at least met at one point with his staff. So, but unfortunately, there's no assurance from the U.S. government, from the international community. They care about anybody, but the particular certain group. It almost feel like if it's up to them, they will revive and give legitimacy to this illegitimate genocidal government to remain in power. But that people will not allow that. But at this moment, as we're talking about, the situation is very intense in Addis Ababa area. Obviously, the embassy keep putting up very severe level 4 statement. The military is ready to evacuate people from Ethiopia, at least in the embassy area. The embassy is still open, but they are very functioning in a very emergency basis. There's a couple of meetings that we actually have got canceled that ourselves we're supposed to have because of the situation on the ground. So I'm just literally talking about everything all at once, basically kind of giving, because our audience are mixed. We have Oromos and we have non-Oromos. We want to let them know that we are for the Oromos, we are following up with the situation just as much as international communities. We also have told template for people to use template. We've been calling for protest, and we're hoping protest is going to be organized very soon. It has to be massive grand rally that need to be happen. That our people have to be ready here just as much as that. When I say our people, I'm talking about Kemant, I'm talking about Benshangul Gumuz, anybody against the Naftanya system, they have to be up and ready. And then also the international community, they have to know that if they do not try to protect these political prisoners, for the consequence that's going to follow up, they will be equally responsible because they could have done something and they failed to do that. Let me stop there, and I think our guests also want to say something.
Yeah, I'll give our guests an opportunity if they want to say something. Let's be clear: the political prisoners, shouldn't have been in prison in the first place. Let's not completely ignore the effect. It's proven guilty until proven innocent, instead of innocent until proven guilty, and they're detaining and investigating instead of investigating and then detaining. So everything is being done backwards. But I think the entire nation, I know for a fact, the entire Oromo nation is watching. Everybody's watching. If something happens to those political prisoners, everybody's watching. The international community is, I'm sure, at this point watching, and I hope they take every necessary measure to ensure the safety of those prisoners, as they should, because those prisoners have rights, like our brother Khanna mentioned a few minutes ago. If our guests have anything to add to this conversation, feel free at any time to jump. I'll give you a chance now if you have if you want to add anything to this conversation.
Abeba and Negesu.
Okay. Yeah. So, like you said, there should not have been any detained in the prison in Galiti anywhere, and not Oromo, no other political prisoners. And if they could have killed Jawar Mohammed and others before. They have tried. So you're right. We will be with you. We will be demonstrating. We'll go speak out, and we're supporting you. And it's better for those people not to do it. But from what experience we have from them, they will try anything right now. So they give up. So they will try if they're not gonna have power. So they're gonna destroy people, because we learn from Hachalu's days. We know from other Oromos that are very strong, and they will do anything. But we have to be voices. We have to do whatever it takes, and we're with you on that.
I just wanted to give you a chance and add one more thing is
Okay.
We're obviously focusing in the Oromo side because of the political prisoner, but feel free to jump in and add some more of political prisoners of the command that's happening to them. I don't want to mean to extend the conversation, but if you want to go from that angle, because when command political prisoners disappear, nobody even know about it. That's used to be Oromo. When Oromos are dead, when Oromo die in thousands, UNHCR don't see it. There was a Amhara attacked Oromo village, about 10 or so village in Wallo area, burned the whole village down. UNHCR went there to visit 6 months later, and they visited for photo op. They took a photo to say that they were there or they met with the elders, but they did not support them, the people. There are 358,000 people were displaced. The US aid and UNHCR, UN OCHA did not support them. So feel free to add a little bit about what happens to the political prisoners, because for our side, we are large in number. Obviously, we've been through this struggle for 20 years or plus. You know what I'm saying? We know a little bit, but for you, it's a little bit of a different. And then after that, Nugusi, also feel free, because this is a new area for you guys. So take it from your angle. Let what happens to the political prisoners that have been arrested in Kemant or in Addis or any other places.
Most of the Kemant prisoners, political prisoners, we don't even know where they are, if they are alive or not. I know some rumors have they are forced to go to the war. So from the war, they don't need them. It's just a reason to kill them. They want to make them human shields. Some of the prisoners, the political prisoners, they arrest them and they take out from the area prisons or jails, and they would transport them, but on the way they would kill them, and we don't know. Some of them they just shoot them and kill them. So right now, if you see, the most prisoners in Gondar and the area are full of Kemant people, like full the Oromo and Addis Ababa, and are full of the Oromo people. It's the same thing going on. Most of them we cannot even visit. The family cannot visit. We don't know. So it is as important as it's. That's why we need to be together and be voiced, because it's not okay. Jawar Mohammed, he's famous, he's known, and Abiy is afraid of him. The Kemant people, they're being imprisoned and detained because they're Kemant. There is no other reason. That's it. You're Kemant, you're gonna be in jail. If you're lucky, you're still alive. If you're not, then we don't even know that. So this is happening. It has been happening, and it's more so right now. So like you said, we need to be voiced. We would provide names if there is if there needs to be reported. We will provide names to most of them. Thank you.
So I just want to add a little bit about our prisoners. Hello?
Here you go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just want to add a little bit about our prisoners. I am gonna say everybody should protect the prisoners, because killing is not a problem solving. If you have problem with about the war or something, go to the jungle. There is nothing to do about the prisoners. And then especially in Addis, with a lot of prisoners in, everybody should protect them. It's gonna cause, at the end of the day, it's gonna cause a lot of problem. So anyone who is trying to kill is gonna bring a lot of problem for the country. Killing is not, let's say if they kill a lot of people, if they're trying to kill Jawar, it's gonna reward it to them. They should protect them. That's what I'm gonna say.
Thank you. Also, there are reports, Kanna, of switching security personnel, security details. This is something that's been done even when he was not in prison, even when he was at his residence. So it's kind of a repeating action. How, with whatever happened a few days ago, do you think there's a who do you think is instead of saying a specific entity? Well, what do you think is the role of the government is in this? Are they aware, or is this something that? Just your take on this. I just wanna hear what you think about who might have ordered that probably attack on the prisoners. And mind you, when Prime Minister Abiy came to power, they emptied the entire prisoners, saying that there should be no political prisoners. Now it's maybe even double that, double what they released. They already detained back. So we shouldn't forget those details.
Who are you asking?
Anybody, Kanna or Sena?
Let me jump in and say this. You remember when Prime Minister came in and he was, being a darling name because of the reform, releasing of political prisoners, inviting political parties who are, out of this country. And that was, making peace with Eritrea. The document, as no one has ever seen that the peace agreement. It was just in a messy, I have never seen that document from even academic angle. People try to look for it. The peace agreement, many organizations that work for peace trying to look the peace agreement the Eritrea and Ethiopia made, but it was nowhere to be seen. And now, again, the funny side is that the prime minister won because he made peace specific on that topic, and now the prime minister on the battlefronts leading his country, and the patriotic one now has transferred the power. He won the Nobel Prize for making peace. 3 years later, the prime minister on the battlefront making the war. Total opposite of what happened, and this is now the state is in anarchy. You can't say now who has ordered those people to even go and try to access the political prisoners. It seems Ethiopia is it's in state of anarchy. Whenever a state is in state of anarchy, anything can happen. You saw the report where young people are organized to look for Tigres in Addis, from door to door. They are not police.
And Oromos.
Yeah, exactly. And they are not police. They are not national intelligence security agents. They are not Addis police. Now, and then again the report where the citizens were told to protect their neighbors, take out gun and then protect your neighbors. Now it seems that the state is not the governance or even the security intelligence has totally collapsed. And any gangs, like now every street has the gang leader, where a gang leader can go and I don't know whether they are going to search prison for firearms. So the gang leaders are now taking the lead. They want to go to door, look for the person they want, arrest him, put in the detention center, kill him. I was writing just 10 minutes before I came to this meeting. I was writing a report where a special Romeo special police detained someone, our old guy of 70 years, a farmer, detained him because his son joined Ollaa, 2 years ago. And now they detained him, say that, why did your son join? His son is 18 years and above, and he make independent personal decision. And that old man was taken out of prison and executed by shooting him on the forehead several times. When such thing happen, it seems and anyone can come for any person, even for political prisoners, and order them to do. There is no one even assigning security personnel to another person. It seems in its state of anarchy, there is no rule. Whenever there is no rule, the jungle rule overtake, the gangsters overtake. They make rules, they make decisions. They make decision to imprison anyone if they want. So I don't know how this state is operating. You remember where they told the diplomatic community to register their firearms? And that's against the diplomatic international, laws where, the diplomat has the immunities. Their bag cannot be touched. But now they are telling them, we will come for your house for firearms. So when the state is even threatening the diplomatic community, the state is now killing their own citizens, and they do anything. So I cannot even narrate who is, in, who is coming, who is doing this. We don't know. And this is now the sad state of the collapsing state. Yeah, that's my take.
Yeah, and I might add, not only they don't have mandate, but they're not trained. They just do a gangster style. Just do what they please. Sena.
Thank you, T. I was actually just about to take a note. I mean, I think Hannah raised so many interesting questions. To me, is on one hand, the diplomats failed because there was so much killing. Abiy started war in Tigray 1 year ago. The people of Kemant and Amhara region were being killed for the last 6 years. Abiy came to power 3 years ago. 3.5 years ago, going for 4 years. Did the international community fail to address 3 years ago, fail to say something? Because, if you remember, there's this saying that, I'm paraphrasing this. First, they came for Jewish, and I'm not a Jewish, so I didn't say anything. Second, they came for somebody, and I'm not a farmer, and I'm not a farmer. I didn't say nothing. But then last they came for me, and there's nobody else left to come for me. So the international community failed to say something, to act 2 years ago, 4 years ago, to talk about. Definitely. And now a year ago. Now they're coming back to them. So did that fail them? I mean, when you listen to this, we, as an organization, we've been working on this for years. We write to these offices. They know very well what's going on in Ethiopia because we have provided them with information. We have given it to the UN. There is a willful ignorance. I don't want to see, I don't want to hear. And now that's what's coming there. But as Kana is saying, is that is against international rule of law to touch diplomats, so require them to register. But the interesting thing is that they arrested 72 of drivers for WFP, Food World Organization. They arrested about 22 UN employees. Yes, predominantly these are Tigrayans, and Tigrayans, within the system. But these are still work for international community. So why didn't the international community, the UN, why didn't the other organization do something about this when they had a chance? But now, I mean, when I was listening to Special Envoy Feltman, who just returned from Ethiopia, whom the office we have read about it, there's willful ignorance that is happening that I feel like that at the last minute, Obasanjo, who have been talking about, we have inside information, there is not going to be any dialogue that's going to keep Abiy in power. Abiy is good as dead, but it is also, is it in the constitution, Abiy transferring power to the Mecca? But I think the last part of the conversation I would like to have in Afan Oromo for our Oromo audience is that because Opinios, Amharas are the perpetrator of this war from the beginning. Like, let's go, let's kill. Opinios are the one they're just kind of looking around because they say like, oh, Abiy is an Oromo. I mean, the guy have done nothing but kill Oromo from day one. He declared state of emergency in Wallaga in December 2018, about 7 months after he came to power. Nobody, including us, has said anything. He got a green light. He killed Oromo, and he said to the international community, as long as I don't kill Tigray, the US cares about only Tigray. That's what they're speaking. And the US is doing exactly that, what he's saying, that intentionally, when the life of these political prisoners is in threat, when the US embassy knows from us, we have told them, when the State Department knows about this, and if anything happened to these political prisoners, there will be consequences that they have never imagined. There will be consequences. So is it a willful ignorance, the international community, and in addition, the Opidios, the PPs, the Mecca now officially is an Amhara who's in power, who's calling the shots. I mean, what else is left? I mean, that's very interesting, but I'll just stop it in here, T.
Thank you. We are an hour and 15 minutes over time. Usually it's supposed to be a 30-minute discussion, but I understand with having guests and we're a little over, so we don't have that much time left. One sentence each, all of you. What do you think should be the Oromo or the Kemant or any other population that is concerned with these prisoners should do? I know you guys mentioned a couple of things that should be done, but I want you guys to very precise 2 sentences. This should be done to ensure the safety of and to bring their plight to the international community. Two sentences each.
You have to call names.
Okay, we'll start. Kana, Sena, Abeba, and then Negesu.
Yes, like I said before, political prisoners have rights. They're human beings like anyone, but they're not now able to help voice their grievance, the injustice that's happening to them, because someone somewhere has decided that their voice will not be heard. So the first, act that should be done is you need to be voice for them. You need to the world the stories of what they're going through. So literally, let's pull our human resource together and tell the world what is happening. That is the first thing. And the second act will be now, if action is not taken, I can literally say that right now we cry to Ethiopian government because Ethiopian government is like literally collapsing. And you don't know now who is even in charge. Every day new thing, every day new thing. So, because if these political prisoners are not protected, you remember when there was a attempt killing of Jawar Mohammed and how many people died and how many properties were destroyed. So whenever this happened, there will be a lot of confusion, news, fake news, and everything will come in. And more, damage, violence will. It is in the interest of the government. I don't know which government now should drop, to protect now the political prisoners because it is going to be fire and fire for them. Again, it is the interest of international political. I remember I listened to Feldman and he said that Ethiopia is not going to, if ceasefire will not happen and mediation will not happen, there will be a civil war of 20 years to come. That's why Feldman said. But if, the mass that Jawar Mohammed, the audience he has, how many young people are there? How many young people Bakala Garba has? And if anything happened to those political prisoners, the violence will erupt. And in the interest of international community to put political prisoners in safe. And we really need to explain to them. And it is the interest of the government of the day to put them in safe. In fact, it is the interest of the government of the day to even, release them or to transfer them outside of this country through legal and proper mechanism because the state is collapsing, and if it collapses, things will happen. I don't know if the current government have decided to collapse with political prisoners, and that is the sad state. If they want to collapse with them, it will be going to be a bigger crisis and a bigger consequences of irreversible damages. So what I can tell the advocacy group, the young people who want to be voice for other voiceless, keep informing the world, keep telling the story, and also explain to people the consequences of the negative consequences of not protecting the political prisoners that command huge audience. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. One more sentence. I brought it down to one. It's almost gonna be a noon. So.
Yes. Okay. So just one sentence for me is that one sentence. T is that this video has been watched by thousands of people already. What have you done? We are coming to the end. There will be a light the day after. Right now is the moment our political prisoners, these are our leaders are in prison. The international community, we urge them to act now to protect this political prisoner for the best interest of yourself as well as the country and the region. If anything happened to this political prisoner, I'm sorry to say there will be consequences and we cannot be responsible. We have not told you so. So they have to, the silence, willful ignorance that's been going on for the last 2 years, even with the fact that you have knowledge that because we gave you, because we have written to, there's no office that we have not written to, it shows as you don't care. So it tells the Oromo people they have to take the situation into their hand. And if we assassinate, anything, God forbidden, to anybody, right now is the Mega Mokonnen is the prime minister. The prime minister, we don't know if it was a coup, we don't know what happened, why he transferred power, for whatever reason he transferred. No matter who he transferred to, PP as a party must face justice. So our call is to international community, for the sake of your interests, for the sake of the Ethiopian people, protect the political prisoner. Internal protection and silent talking about is not enough. We do not hear you. We do not see you. Our people who make up the vast majority do not feel like you are their voice. You have not been their voice. At Sabah, the capital city you reside is in Oromia region, yet you have never spoken about the Oromo issue. There have been billions of US aid, say 1.3 billion, and a lot of people in our area, in Oromia, and other people are in hungry. When it comes to certain region, US, obviously, we're not talking about Tigray, other region trying to, show that, they care about it, their aid that's going on. But in other area, intentional ignorance from the humanitarian angle, from the US aid, and different. And we say this because we have talked to them, because we have submitted very specific documentation. We have requested a meeting. We know all this, so we ask you to act. For our people in diaspora, these are the last days. I personally will come back to you and talk on my own show, on my own Facebook, and then also possibly join some other media later in the week. But these are the last days. We urge all the community leaders, all Oromo youth leaders, all organization. Now is the time to act. We have to protest. We have to do letter campaign. We have drafted one to call in an email template. Feel free to use them. Feel free to make them. Feel free to create another one. Send it to us. We'll be more than happy to put on our website. But do your part. This is the moment. And thank you so much, Tia. And I want to take this opportunity to thank Abeba for being with us. And I know Negesu have left, that sharing your story have lightened our days. And I wanted to thank you, Tia, and everybody for joining.
Thank you. And Abeba, I'll give you half a sentence. Okay.
Okay, that's okay. So they said it, but one thing I wanted to see is called especially the UN called for a special meeting and talk to them in person. I know you've been writing, and Twitter, social media. We need to come up and just say things on social media. We need to organize with other people, communities, and go and demonstrate. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Uh-huh.